y'all, it's Maddie from the Itty Bitty Homestead Committee, and I thought today I would show you how I break down a rabbit carcass into more usable pieces. So if you're not interested in that, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one, but if you are interested, let's get into that. So here's one of the meat rabbits that we just culled out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the back legs out like so. You're going to hear a defined pop, and I'm going to take my knife and I am going to cut into the meat around the joint. Great camera angles, Madison. And I'm going to cut away as much as I can till I expose that joint that I've popped out, making sure that I've completely broken it off. I'm going to twist at it a little bit because sometimes the joints are a little hard to get to, and sometimes you just don't have all the meat cut off, and sometimes you just need a little help from your knife. But once you get it off, it's nice and easy. It's about the size of a chicken thigh, and you can use it just like that. I go over to my next one and once again make sure that my joint is popped, rotating my knife around the joint, cutting into the meat so that it's exposed, so that it is easier for me to kind of get in there and separate the thigh from the hip joint. Again, sometimes it just takes a little bit of work just to wiggle it out and pop it out. Remember guys, I'm not a professional butcher. I am just a homesteader that's kind of taught myself how to do these things. And you too can do something like this with a knife that's probably going to get your fingers cut off at some point. But the point here is anyone can do this. Anyone can chop into a piece of meat and figure out how to do what they need to do to take care of their family, even if it's butchering a piece of meat. And by butcher, I mean completely cut it funny. But here are the thighs. They look great. And I'm going to move on to the next section, which is the belly flap right here. This slice of meat is perfect to use for grilling and turning into things like fajitas or into tacos. And I'm just going to run my knife along the ribs and up into that open cavity right there to remove it in one big long piece. Just make sure that you don't cut too far up into the ribs or else you'll get those tiny bones into the meat. But that is the piece right there. It's a nice size, great for sandwiches as well. Next, I am going to move on to the front legs, and just like the back legs, we're going to pop those out of socket, and we're going to take our knife and rotate it around the joint so that we can easily remove it from that area. They're like little chicken wings, y'all. They're like perfect for like frying up and covering in like hot sauce. I love it. But again, you're gonna pop it out and you're gonna use a little elbow grease because again, we are not a professional butcher and we're just gonna figure it the heck out. Watch your fingers. I'm horrible with knives. One of these days I'm gonna cut myself. But there is the piece of meat right there. I'm going to move on to the next one right here, doing the same thing, popping the leg joint so that it's easier to cut through the meat. Again, when you're doing this in real life, you're going to hear a very distinct pop. I'm using my fingers right there to kind of feel out for where the joint is so I don't cut into the muscle more than I need to. And again, I'm going to hear about my knife skills from someone down in the comments because they are horrible. I know they are horrible, but again, we figure this out and we will work through it together because I suck at this and I've actually gotten better with my knife skills over the years. But the next thing you're going to do is you are going to snap the back just like this so that you can separate out this nice back loin from the ribs. And you can cut it a little further back if you want. I like cutting it right there because I like a nice long loin. And again, you're going to cut around the meat so that you can easily find where the joints are in the spine to cut through them. Again, my knife skills, glorious. Could I just have used a hatchet? Of course I could have, but I didn't want to do extra dishes if I didn't have to. But this rib cage is great for soups and stocks, and this loin is amazing for like braising and turning into like pulled rabbit. So yeah, that's how I break down our rabbit carcasses and prepare them for storage. What I'll do is I will take multiple rabbits after butchering and I will take like their legs for instance, and I will put those together in like groups, normally 4 or 5. That way everyone can have the same cut of meat for dinner. With the loins, I will cut it into sections so that's easier to store, or I'll leave it whole if we're like cooking it that night. And that is amazing, smoke and pulled out, kind of like a pulled pork. Other than that, watch your fingers. I'm horrible with knives. I know I'm horrible with knives, but this goes to show that if I can do something, you can do something. You can learn to do anything that you put your mind through. Just be careful. They have lovely little like chainmail gloves you can try. I am too stupid for that. So anyway, I hope this was helpful and kind of gave you an idea. I'm not a professional, but sometimes I can be kind of funny. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. I love having y'all here, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.